the aluminium doesn't rust. It oxidizes a little, but it's not too bad. So this is, I mean, this is reasonably intact. And this is one ghost of war that's probably going to be around for a long, long time. And the jungle, as you can see, the vines and the creepers are just coming all over it. They're engulfing it.
Henderson Field is virtually surrounded by Japanese, and they mount a big new offensive, pushing to the very edge of the airfield.
How thick is this kunai grass? And this is what the soldiers were up against. If you can imagine, while they were scarpering up these extreme inclines, pew, 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 they were getting shot at from positions that they couldn't even see. Sometimes luck would have it, they'll see the spit, the spark coming out of the rifles and the machine guns, out of the foxholes and the trenches and the dig-ins that the Japanese had all through here. You know what? It's easy enough for me zipping through this stuff. Haven't got a backpack, haven't got a gun, let alone an M60. No grenades hanging off me. I'm out of breath. I'm going up and down the hills. It's hot, it's tropical, it's thick, and you can't see 20 feet in front of you.
Guadalcanal is the first time the Americans have to face the infamous fanatical Japanese suicide charges.
Banzai! Imagine that, the Banzai charges. And the Japanese were trying to take Bloody Ridge. It was a crucial point. Henderson airstrip's right there. If they could secure this position, they would have had a real good show at taking it over.
This is the point where Japanese expansion in the South Pacific is finally halted. The outnumbered Americans on Guadalcanal are destroying the myth of Japanese invincibility.
The US Marines hung on, and they're able to push them back and push them back. The loss of life, the Japanese loss of life, piled up. All of these valleys and hills. Down through here, Japanese, injured, wounded. They were in a bad way. Oh yeah, this is good, this is good. Have a look and see its position on top of the hill, on the crest of the hill, facing out this way. So I'd reckon this would have been a little machine gun nest. Look at that. Japanese rifle.
Crikey, both sides go into raging battles, weakened by malaria, dengue fever, dysentery and jungle rot that is eating away at their skin. The loss of life is incredible. 24,000 Japanese troops to the Americans' 3,000. Awesome loss of life. And I'm standing on the very chunk of dirt where all these blokes lost their life.
Even to this day, it's eerie. Sun's dropped down over the Pacific. It's dark, it's still. Scary stuff. It's almost like it's haunting. Even sitting in this foxhole right now, there's this total sensation that I'm surrounded by ghosts. As we get further into this sweep through the Pacific, I've discovered there's an even bigger story for me to tell. It's almost become a personal quest. If you can imagine, way north of here, my dad's dad was killed. My grandfather was killed during World War II. And just 4 weeks after that, when his dad found out, he also died. He lost his son, and it was a real tragedy. But it goes beyond that. My beautiful wife, Terry's dad, was on the USS Boise, fighting for us, fighting for me, Australians, right down here. It was beautiful. And I got to try really hard not to cry when I talk about the human sacrifice. And this human sacrifice is actually a part of my family tree, my family link, my heritage.
War is all about human sacrifice. While the blokes were fighting hard on land, the savage battles taking place at sea saw huge losses of life on both sides.
I've travelled over 600 miles from Australia to get to this very point. Just around the corner there, that is Cape Esperance. That island in the background over there, that's Savo. The Cape Esperance battle took place right here. The Japanese were coming down through here to reinforce Guadalcanal. They had tens of thousands of troops to put in here. The US fleet came up and swung around in the night and formed a T-section like this. If you can imagine, whoa. Here's Savo, here's Guadalcanal, and here is Cape Esperance, right here. Japanese fleet were coming down through here. The US fleet was coming up through here. And then what they did was they formed a T-section. So all of their guns were facing forward so they could hit the Japanese, oncoming Japanese. Boom, 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 boom. And this is the beauty of it all, is that Terry's dad, Clarence Rains, was on the USS Boise, right out there, October 11th, 1942, when this big battle took place. The T-section was a great formation to take the Japanese head on. The battle took place, bombs going off, it was just hellacious, absolutely going ballistic. USS Boise took a hit, a direct hit in the forward turret, and flames and that just engulfed the ship. Luckily enough, it had a pretty thin skin, and so the water rushed in and flooded the magazine. They were crippled, but they weren't dead in the water. And Terry's dad survived. He was down in the middle of the ship, and he tells some horrendous stories of coming up top, guys burnt to their gun turrets, the whole place on fire, this acrid smell just coming up from the Boise.
And thank God Terry's dad lived. World War II, did my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and all the other fathers and grandfathers' sons and husbands die for nothing? I don't think so. I hope not. Never take it for granted.
Virtually right out here off this reef is an A1 class Japanese sub, and it was rammed by two New Zealand vessels, minesweepers, the Moa and the Kiwi. Bang! They rammed it and took it out, and it's sitting. Its nose is up and around about 5 meters of water, and it goes back down into about 50 as the reef drops off so severely. All of this is volcanic. Your drop-offs are incredible.
The war in the Pacific is all about supply lines. And like everywhere else, submarines and anti-submarine units are in the thick of the action around Guadalcanal. The I-1 submarine finally runs itself onto a submerged reef after fighting back against the New Zealand frigates. Just one Japanese officer is pulled alive from the sea. The fates of the rest are unknown, probably entombed in this sunken ghost of war. Fully armed with torpedoes, who knows how many Allied lives are saved by the heroic sinking of the I-1. An amazing Japanese